Hey guys, happy Tuesday. I hope you're all doing well. So I decided post spring break we're going to have a little fun with these videos, and every day there's going to be a new theme. So today my theme is we are in a snowstorm and we are playing outside. So I'm sitting outside even though if it's cold. Bucky's very excited. I'm wearing my hat. What do you think of my snow hat? And my coat, and we're gonna do some math because we want to imagine we're in fun places. So today we are pretending that we are going sledding, and after we go sledding we're going inside and we're having hot cocoa. So let's get started with some math from last time. We're gonna go over the follow-up from last Thursday, like a week ago before spring break. So I asked you to add 38 and 7/10 plus 9 and 46 hundredths, and I said, what did Bucky do wrong? Find the sums of these numbers. So if you look at it, many of you responded. The problem is that these numbers are not lined up according to place value the way they're supposed to be. So if I redo this, I would say this is 38 and 7/10. So that means the next number, 9, is also in the ones place, so it needs to stay in the ones place. The decimal has to be in the same spot, and then I have 46 hundredths, and I'm going to add them. And now the digits in this number is a 6 in the hundredths place, and there's no digit in the hundredths place there, so I could put a 0. And the same thing here, there's no digit in the tens place, so I also can put a 0 to hold its place value spot. So now we can add 0 plus 6 gives me 6. 7 plus 4 gives me 11. I'm going to put the decimal in the same spot. I regrouped the 1 to the next place value. 1 plus 8 gave me 9. 9 plus 9 gives me 18. I'm going to regroup the 1 to the next place value. And then I have a 4 in the tens place. So the sum of these numbers is 48 and 16 hundredths. Okay, let's get started with the warm-up for today. It says Elena and Andre are finding the sum of 621 and 45 hundredths and 72 and 3/10. The table shows how they found the sums. So here's Elena's calculations and here's Andre's calculation. Describe Elena and Andre's calculations. Who do you agree with and why? So now would be a really good time to pause the video and try this warm-up on your own. All right. So if I look at these, there's some clear differences between Elena's and Andre's calculation. In Elena's calculation, she kind of just put the numbers wherever she wanted. She wanted the 3 to line up with the 5, the 4 to line up with the decimal, the 2 to kind of line up with the decimal in the first number, and it's not very organized. Elena did not line up the numbers by place value. Andre's calculation, everything was lined up by place value. The 6 was in the hundreds place. The 7 and the 2 are both in the tens place, so they were both in the tens place. The 2 and the 1 were both in the ones place, so they're lined up in the ones place. You can see that the decimal points line up perfectly. The tenths place line up perfectly, and this one number, the 5, is in the hundredths place. Since 72 and 3/10 has no hundredth, they put a 0 there. So Andre's calculation is correct, and that's what gives us the correct sum, which is 693 and 75 hundredths. All right, so here's our Bucky's challenge for today. It's called running farther. After school, Leo ran 3 2/10 kilometers, and Simon ran 1 95 hundredths kilometers. Who ran farther and how much farther? That's what we're trying to figure out. Who ran farther and how much farther? So right now, I would like you to take 5 minutes and write down everything that you notice and wonder about that problem. Again, just take 5 minutes to do it. Then we'll come up with a list of notices and wonders together. All right, here are my notices and here are my wonders. Here's some of my notices. 2 people are running that we are trying to compare, Leo and Simon. Leo ran 3 2/10 kilometers. Simon ran 1 95/100 kilometers. Running farther means who ran the longer distance. To find out how much farther someone ran from the other person, we are calculating the difference, which means subtraction. Here are some wonders. How do we decide who runs farther? Is it based on how many digits the numbers have? Or is it on the values of the numbers in the place value spots? That's not sports, it should say spots. Well, we need to subtract to find out how much farther one person ran over the next. So now that we've finished some notices and wonders, here is the Buc-ee's challenge again. I would like you to pause this video and now begin to solve it on your own. Take as long as you need, use any strategy that you want. All right, so I put both Leo and Simon's kilometer distances of how far they ran into a place value chart. And I created the place value chart because I saw both numbers have a ones number digit, both numbers have a tenths number digit, and only Simon's has a hundredths number digit with a 5. So first we want to figure out who ran farther. If someone runs farther than the next person, their distance is bigger. So basically the first problem is asking us, or the first question is asking us, who ran farther or who ran a larger distance? So which number between the two is bigger? Is it Leo's or is it Simon's? So we always start with the biggest place value, and we can see that Leo has a 3 in the ones place and Simon only has a 1 in the ones place. So Leo ran farther. So first we could say that 3 2/10 is greater than 1 95/100. So Leo ran farther, okay? And we could see, because that's a larger number, there's a 3 in the ones place versus a 1 in the ones place. Now, we want to determine how much farther. When we're trying to determine how much farther something is than something else, we're comparing the numbers. And often when we compare it in this way, we subtract. So we want to subtract Simon's from Leo's distance to see how much farther Leo ran than Simon. We know Simon ran farther because he's the bigger number. So I'm going to line this up just like I would do for addition to subtract. I have 3 2/10 minus 1 and, remember, decimals have to be in the same place, 95/100. Now, let's look at this subtraction problem. If I want to start, you know, when you subtract, just like you do with whole number, you start with the place value all the way to the right. So let's see, can I subtract this 5 when there's nothing above it? I can't. And see, there's no digit here in the hundredths place, so we need to put one there. The only digit we can put there would be a 0, because it does not change the value of the number, but it makes sure everything lines up perfectly. So look, if I draw lines in between these place value spots, you can see I am clearly going to subtract just like I would do any number. All right, so let's try it. Can I take 5 away from 0? No, I can't. 5 is bigger than 0, so I'm going to need to decompose from the number in the tenths place, which is a 2, and make this a 1, and make this a 10. Now I have 10 hundredths. So 10 hundredths minus 5 hundredths gives me 5 hundredths. Now I can continue subtracting like normal. Can I take 9 tenths away from 1 tenth? Nope, I can't. So I have to decompose from the larger place value, which is the 1s. So I'm going to decompose from the 3. I'm going to make this a 2. And I'm going to bring this over and make this an 11. So now 11 tenths minus 9 tenths is going to give me 2 tenths. I'm going to bring the decimal down. And now I have 2 minus 1 in the 1s place, and I get 1. So you could see now, based on our calculations, that Leo ran 1 25/100ths of a kilometer more than Simon. And again, it's lined up by place value. Here's our 1s. Here's our tenths. And here's our hundredths. And if we want to prove this is right, just like we do with any subtraction problem, we can check it with addition. So if I take my difference, how many more kilometers Leo ran, 1 25/100ths, and I add it to 1 95/100ths, I should get the distance that Leo ran. 5 plus 5 is 10. 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 plus 9 is 12. So I have 12 tenths. I'm going to regroup. 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3. So I get 3 20/100ths, which is the same as 3 2/10ths. So we did this correctly. So to recap, we know Simon's number is larger. He ran further because the 3 in the 1s place is larger than the 1 in the 1s place in Simon's number. And when we subtract, we do it just like we added decimals. We line them up by place values. If there is a number that has 1 fewer digit than the other, we put a 0 in that spot, and then we subtract normally. All right, so let's go over some reflections I had about today's Buc-ee's challenge. First, if someone runs farther than someone else, it means the number is greater based on place value. It does not necessarily mean it has more digits. That's why 3 2 kilometers was greater than 1 95/100ths of a kilometer. Just like when we add decimals, to subtract decimals, we must line the numbers up by its place value spots. If there are empty spots because one number has fewer digits than another, you need to place zeros where there are no numbers. So, I think you are capable of doing 3 follow-up problems because I don't think they're that challenging. I think you can do them. So here's follow-up problem number 1. I want you to subtract 1 whole minus that decimal. And I don't even want to read it to you. So I want you to think, where do you put the decimal in the 1 and what happens to all the other digits? Follow-up 2. Claire bought lemons for $3.43. She paid with a $5 bill. Below are 3 calculations that show how much change Claire should get. Which one is correct? Explain your reasoning. So there were 3 ways to solve the problem here in A, B, and C. Only one is right. You need to tell me which one is right and why. And the third follow-up problem is kind of the trickiest, but I know you can do it. A pen costs $2.09. It costs 45 cents less than a marker. Ken paid for 1 pen and 1 marker with a $5 bill. Determine his change. So now would be a great time to pause the video and go back to follow-up question 1, then follow-up question 2, and then follow-up question 3, and try to solve them on your own. Questions. If you have questions about anything I discussed or have answers to the problems I left you to solve, please email me your responses or send me a message on Dojo. I will respond to your messages in my challenge for Thursday. So like always, I'll go over the follow-up questions on Thursday, but if you email me your answers, I will get right back to you today or tomorrow. Thursday's challenge will involve receipts. Remember I told you about that the last time we had a video? If you have some, great, save them, you can use them. If not, don't worry, I will have everything you need. It's really great to get to talk to you today. I've missed you guys last week. I have been missing you a lot. I'm thinking about you always. So for now, Bucky and I say goodbye. You see Bucky sleeping over there? Talk to you guys soon. Bye. I guess you guys didn't get a good picture of Bucky before, but he's just chilling out in the cold. See you all on Thursday.